Okay, where were you born and raised?
I was born and raised here in Greene County, Georgia.
Okay, in the city?
Yeah, Greensboro.
Greensboro, okay, yeah.
Greensboro.
All right, and what made you decide to go into the service?
You want the truth? No, I
Get-
won't tell you the truth because I don't want to print it on paper.
You can tell me the proof just for the record.
Okay, truth for the record is I was married. I had two small children, and the marriage was not going well. So I went in the military to get away from my hubby. But when I returned, he was still there. Don't print that.
Okay, that's the unofficial.
Okay.
So, well, I'll go over with you now. So, you decided to you chose the U.S. Army, right?
I did, and that was because even in high school, I always said I would go in the military. I really wanted to go in the military. But of course, I got sidetracked, got married, and didn't go. So it just got delayed.
So you went to Greene County High School?
I did.
Okay. Was it called Greene County High School at that time?
It was called Greene County High School at that time. Matter of fact, I actually went to the school when they first started segregation because my parents thought I could get a better education if I went to the quote-unquote white school.
Okay.
And then after that, I went back to Floyd T. Carey Elementary. The next year, they integrated completely. And I went back to Greene County High School.
High school.
And that's where I graduated from.
All right. I'm going to ask you a lot of information, and this is for, the video, which I will get to you. And if I get a lot of information, then things can be cut out. But in my regular veterans interview that I do with our veterans, I always ask them, what is the background of you wanting to go into the military?
Why did I want to go in the military?
Yes.
Oh, well, I always had this desire to help people. And I would say now that one thing that I love is serving my country. And now at the library, I get an opportunity to serve my community.
Okay.
So those are my two favorite jobs. And I've been working since I was 13. But I haven't found any fulfillment in anything more than serving my country and serving my community.
Okay. Where did you do your basic?
I did my basic in Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Okay.
Now, I did what's called a split option program because, of course, I was married and I had small kids and I did not want to be away from my children for that long. And I also was going into the reserves. Mm-hmm. And so what actually happened is they gave me what's called a split option program, which they do now with students. You go 1 year for your basic training, and then you come back and you go back the following year for your AIT. And I did my AIT in Fort Lee, Virginia.
What is that? AIT?
Individual advancement, advanced individual training.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How did you find basic?
I called home crying, asking my mama to get me out. I told her I was sorry, get me out. I didn't want to be there anymore.
I did not expect that answer.
No, I did not. No.
Oh, so, but you made it.
I made it.
You made it.
I made it.
What finally helped you turn the corner?
Push-ups.
Okay, all right.
Push-ups.
And then where were you assigned to?
I was assigned to a unit. Remember, I went into reserves at first, and I was assigned to a unit in Athens, Georgia, called 357 Supply and Service Division. And when I found out that I could do something called Active Guard and Reserve, I started volunteering and taking assignments as much as possible, going to different places, and I ended up going to Reforger in Germany.
Where did you go?
It's called Germany. I went to Germany.
Oh, Germany.
And but it was an Operation Reforger, and that's where we like prepared troops that had been overseas in hostile environments. They came to Germany to kind of like regroup, and we would counsel them, prepare them to come back to the U.S. to more or less be introduced back to society.
Did you receive any special training to do that? To counsel the military people?
Oh yeah, I went to a school it was a school run by civilians in Fort. It wasn't even a fort. They sent me to St. Petersburg, Florida, and I went to NCO training there.
Oh, NCO.
And they prepared me for it. You're bringing up a lot of stuff I had forgot about.
I'm looking over here at all of these badges and medals and things you have.
You know, I just looked at the book to try to remember what they're for, so don't ask me because I didn't finish reading the book.
Well, this picture over here of you, are you in Viet Nam?
Actually, I was in Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia.
And I was a supply sergeant. That is the man whose place I took as supply sergeant. He was my leader. I got promoted to staff sergeant. He got promoted to sergeant first class. Sergeant Hood, who served in Viet Nam. And that was the first loaf of bread we received after getting there. And it was just incidental that it was Wonder Bread. Because we wanted something other than MREs.
MRE?
Meals ready to eat.
Meals ready to eat. Now, is there any story behind all of these bars on your uniform and medals?
Well, Richardson was my maiden name. Well, not my maiden name, my married name, my first name. Of course, there's a Foreign Wars. I don't remember the name of all of them, to be honest with you. Of course, I learned how to speak expert because I imagine. Keep in mind now, when I went and why I truly went, I imagined that it was my husband I was shooting at, so I got expert for the rifle. The grenade, since I didn't want to just totally blow him up, I just only got marksman. And as you can see, that uniform is a lot smaller.
I didn't want to go there.
I can't even, I don't know if I can even get my arm in there, but I think I weighed like 128.
128. So after, how long did you stay in Germany?
I was in Germany for 6 months.
Okay, and where did they assign you from there?
Excuse me?
Where did they assign you from there?
I came back to, where did I go from there? I came back to North Carolina, where we shipped out from.
From Germany?
Yeah. And stayed there for a while, then I returned to Athens to the reserve unit, and until I volunteered for another assignment, and just volunteering for different assignments. But of course, when what was it, Operation Desert Shield started, I had moved from the supply unit to a postal unit, and my unit got activated. And because I was a supply sergeant, I was one of the first to be mobilized. They sent me back to North Carolina. You have to put it-
No, I mean, what do you mean, Desert Shield started and they demobilized you for what reason?
Because I was supply sergeant. And so the supply sergeant, there's key people that are first to go
Okay.
whenever a unit is activated. And activated doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to go, but you prepare to go. And so I was sent to North Carolina and given a $2.5 million budget, telling me what I had to get ready just in case our unit went to Saudi Arabia. And I probably was there for about a week when I got the orders telling me that the unit had been mobilized. We would actually be going.
And you went to Saudi Arabia
Yes,
as the supply
sergeant.
Okay.
And I served on the 7th Corps Army.
7th Corps Army. Okay. And I see these hashtags on your
That was for years of
sleeve.
service.
Years of service. Okay. Oh, in total?
No, not total. You got them every, how often we got them? But anyway, I was in the service for 20 years, and all of my hashtags are not on there. I think you got them for every 3 or 4 years or something like that. You got one for every 3 or 4 years.
20 years in the Army Reserve?
Army Reserve / Army, yeah. Army / Army Reserve.
Okay.
I have approximately about 6 years of active duty service.
All in Afghanistan, Saudi Arabia?
No, Saudi Arabia. I served in Operation Restore Hope, which was in Africa. And of course, that was the mission where we went in and tried to restore some kind of order in Mogadishu, Africa.
Okay. How did your, so you said you had 22 years?
20.
20 years in the service. Well, you know, what made you decide to put in your papers?
I got sick in Africa and was mobilized out of Africa to Europe. I forgot where in Europe, where I stayed in the hospital for about 3 months. And I then got mobilized to, and when I say mobilized, I'm talking about air vac to North Carolina, where I ended up staying in the hospital for like another 6 months. And it was hard for them to try to find out what was going on with my body, because apparently something had happened in Africa.
Yeah.
That didn't go well, you know, with the environment. And after that bout, I started having some other issues. I hope you don't print it. Some PTSD and pretty much
That was from the Saudi Arabia?
Saudi Arabia. Africa. I think Africa probably affected me more than Saudi Arabia. So some things in Africa that we don't see, you know.
Was that war related or just the way it is over there?
It was, yeah, the way it was.
Was that your first trip to Africa?
It was my first trip to Africa.
Okay.
But I have since did 4 tours in Africa.
Oh.
Yeah. 2 through the military, and through 2 I went back for missions since I've been out of the military.
Okay.
Yeah.
On your return home, what what did you decide to do? Did you just give yourself a little break before you tried to work?
I did. I gave
Good.
myself a little break.
Good.
And stayed at home for a while. And then I said, okay, God, I want to go to work. But I want to dress up. And pretty much I wanted to dress up and wanted to have a desk to sit at. I didn't want to do any of the roughy stuff. And of course I love to read, but I made up my mind that I would only apply for places that I wanted to work. You know how some people put in an application and they said, whatever you got. Mm-hmm. I chose not to say whatever you got. I knew what I wanted, and I was determined that if I were going to go back to work, then it needed to be something that I could enjoy. And so I like, okay, what makes me the proudest of all when I feel like I'm needed and I feel like I'm doing something. And I knew that was whenever I could help people.
Oh, yeah.
And wearing that uniform, whenever I would have to go by a store or something, if I had gotten off duty or something, I always felt proud walking in my uniform. And so whatever I do is going to have to give me a sense of dignity, a sense of being needed, and I have to be able to contribute something. And so I applied for jobs in Athens, and then this job came up for branch manager here in Greene County, and I thought, right down the street.
Exactly.
I love the library, and I'm in there all the time, and I think they are helping people. And I thought about my childhood when the library was in downtown Greensboro, and I'm like, I used to really like to go in the library. I'm like, but wonder do you have to have a degree or something? And at that time, I did not have a college degree. All I had was my military training. But I decided, well, I'm going to apply anyway. And I applied, got an interview, and here I am, 24 years later.
Oh, wonderful. What a wonderful testimony.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
All right.
That is a wrap.
Big.